bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
What up, what up, what up? Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Today is Wednesday, December 2nd. 336 days of the new year, just 29 days left for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your oh-so-humble host, Jimmy Church. Let's get the show cracking. I'd like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, it's day 3 of 4 straight AMA nights here on Fade to Black, and tonight our guest is Leo Zagami. Live from Rome, Italy. Tomorrow night, it's going to be me. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. You can also Skype in Fade to Black in the number 14. You can also tweet your questions tonight for Leo using hashtag F2BQ. Now, all of our AMAs this week have been a huge success. Great participation. We're going to take a lot of phone calls tonight. We're going to do a lot of email. We're going to do a lot of tweets. You got to do your job. All right? Hashtag F2BQ. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black Questions. That is live to my left. I see that column in TweetDeck. It's right there. Okay, so this is Ask Me Anything, Q&A. You can ask anything. Post the questions, and I will get them to Leo. You can also, I've already gotten a bunch of email tonight, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Shoot me an email. I will get the question in. You can send an email in through the website. You can send an email directly to Rita@jimmychurchradio.com. Everything will eventually get in here to me, and I will do that. Call-in number, 323-825-5045. It's going to be very busy on the phones tonight. If you call, it's busy. Call again. Okay? If you call and it just rings and rings and rings, it means you're in rotation. Okay? And I will get to the phone call. All right? I have the ability to stack up about 10 calls, and I will get to them all. If you don't get through, all you got to do is just call back. All right, but I will get all of the calls in. You can also Skype in Fade to Black in the number 14. It's going to be a busy night. When Leo was on with us last month, a month and a half ago, again, just that's the reason why we did AMAs this week with Michael Lee Hill and Hollis Polk. Amazing shows, by the way. When Leo was on with us, it was one of those shows. We didn't get to phone calls. We didn't get to emails. I didn't do anything on Twitter. I didn't do anything but engage with Leo in an amazing conversation. Leo's new book is Confessions of an Illuminati. Leo Zagami. I've got it right here in the studio. I've been reading it for the last month. It's absolutely extraordinary. If you want to get a copy of the book, just go to CCC Publishing. You can do that over at jimmychurchradio.com. It is packed full of photographs, illustrations. It's just an amazing book. It's all there. It's unbelievable. Confessions of an Illuminati. Leo was a member. It is a member, right? Is the director of the Illuminati. We'll get to all of that right now. In Rome, Italy. He was also part of the bad side of the Illuminati, and he left. And tonight is your only opportunity to speak directly to a member of the Illuminati. I need to drive this home to you. There are a lot of great researchers out there, some not so great, that write about the Illuminati, talk about the Illuminati, and they accumulate information and do the research, and they'll write a great book. Okay, cool. Or maybe write a not so great book. Maybe go on a radio show or a television show and talk about but it's not firsthand. This is a member of the Illuminati. Okay, you will never have this opportunity ever to do this directly to somebody that is right there. Okay, now it's very important. I want you to cop that vibe. Okay, you can ask a question of somebody that's written a book and they can give you their opinion. That's one thing. Leo Zagami, his book is titled Confessions of an Illuminati for a reason. He is with us tonight, live from Rome, Italy. Okay, all right, and we will get to that. It's going to be a great show. We had it's still ongoing here in Southern California. We had a crazy day here, as you can imagine. Early this morning, around 11 o'clock, I'll get to all the details and the latest news that I have on this mass shooting that happened in San Bernardino, and it's from the studio here. It's the next next major city over, heading out on the 10. Well, you have Ontario, then San Bernardino, and it's probably 40 minutes away, hour away drive time, and but all of Southern California, when you look at it, certainly from the air, it's all one big city. Everything is just one big city, from nearly from Palm Springs all the way to Santa Monica. Everything now is connected and touched, and San Bernardino is right here. It's part of our community, and it was a crazy day. I, like everybody else, was glued to the TV and was watching everything in real time unfold. Tragic. 14 people killed today, and it hasn't been resolved. I've accumulated all of the latest news all the way up to showtime tonight, and I'm sure you've been following it too as well. And there'll probably be some more breaking news during the show tonight as well. Okay, so I'll get to that in just a second. I would like to invite everybody to go over to our newest sponsors website. You can go to Life Change Tea. The banner is right there at jimmychurchradio.com. Just click on the banner and go to getthetea.com. Great product line. And I am now on like 2 or 3 products from them, and some blood purifiers. And the tea is amazing. Just go check it out, getthetea.com. All Fade or Nots, when you order, either through the phone number or through the website and order online, just mention Jimmy Church Radio, get free shipping. Okay? All right. Wow, we've got a lot to do tonight. Alien Snowfest, February 5th through the 7th. I can't believe it. We are sitting here on December 2nd. That's it. This year's over. The next thing you know, January is here, and we're going to be up at Big Bear. Oh, I cannot wait. February 5th through the 7th, Alien Snowfest. And Jason Martell, George Nori, Linda Moulton Howe, Stanton Friedman, Micah Hanks, Mike Barrett, Chase Klutsky, Craig Campabasso, Marshall Clarfeld, Richard Dolan, myself. I will be hosting, I'm going to do an interview and presentation, but I'll also be hosting the luncheon on Saturday. So go get your tickets now, aliensnowfest.com. With that, let's get this show cracking. Today, Rick Savage of Def Leppard, bass player, is 55 years old. Britney Spears, yeah, I'm doing it, is 34. Britney Spears, hey, Britney's good. I'll admit it. Ain't nothing wrong with Britney. Lucy Liu is 47. Nelly Furtado is 37. I'm like a bud. I'm like a bud. Did she ever have another hit? Or was it all, I know she's done like 20, 30 million records or whatever. Won all those Juno Awards. She's from Canada. 37 years old. Nelly Furtado. Our dead guy's birthday today is Gianni Versace. 1946 to 1997, died at the age of 50, was murdered, was an Italian fashion designer and founder of Versace, who also designed costumes for theater and films as well. And he was a friend to like Eric Clapton, Diana, Princess Diana, Naomi Campbell, Madonna, Elton John, Cher, Sting. And he was the first designer to link fashion to the music world. And pretty cool guy, too. Versace was shot dead on the 15th of July in 1997 on the steps of his Miami Beach mansion as he returned from a morning walk on Ocean Drive. He was murdered by Andrew Cunanan, who used the same gun to commit suicide on a boat 8 days later in that massive manhunt, as you remember. And one of the funny things about all of that was I went to Miami with a friend of mine, Jeff Lady. It was shortly after that, like a week after Versace was murdered. It was right then. And so we go, and we're staying in Miami, and we walked over to Gianni Versace's house, which is right there on Ocean Walk, and took pictures. And there were flowers and stuff, and so we took pictures of the flowers, and then we took pictures of each other standing at the gate. This was at night. And the security guards, the door opens, they come running out and chased us away, and they were not happy either. It was a bad scene. I thought I was going to get arrested, but and so I always think about that. And it was right there. You look in his house, and there's, it's Ocean Drive, and he was so accessible, and you don't really realize. You see it in the news, but. You go and you're like looking at his house, and then you look over at all the hotels and the cafes right there. And dude just walked out his front gate and made a right-hand turn, and went up the strip there. And who would have thought, And but it was just weird to go and experience that. So anyway, tragic day here in Los Angeles, and I'll talk about what we know right now. The latest right after the break. This is Fade to Black tonight. Leo Zagami is with us live from Rome, Italy. Day 3 of 4 straight days of AMAs here on Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I gotta tell you, it was a relief. National Tax Experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. It doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil 3-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station where the Fader-Knots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. Tonight, it's day 3 of 4 straight AMA nights right here on Fade to Black. Our guest tonight is Leo Zagami, live from Rome, Italy. His new book is Confessions of an Illuminati. This is your opportunity to ask questions directly to a member of the Illuminati. You'll never have another opportunity like this. It ain't going to happen. Call-in number is 323-825-5045. I'm going to open up the phone lines in about 10 short minutes. You can also Skype in Fade to Black and the number 14. Tweet your questions for Leo. Hashtag F2BQ. Hashtag F2BQ. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. You can use Rita at jimmychurchradio.com, and you can also go to the website and go to our contact page and shoot an email off there too as well. All right, let's get the show cracking. On this day in history in 1942, Enrico Fermi, the Nobel Prize winning physicist, directs and controls the first nuclear chain reaction in his laboratory beneath the bleachers of Stagg Field at the University of Chicago. Fader fact. Okay, write this one down. The piano that Freddie Mercury plays in the song Bohemian Rhapsody is the same exact piano Paul McCartney plays in Hey Jude. And that is a Fader fact. You know, and you think about that lovely piano in Hey Jude, you think about that. And that piano, they do kind of sound the same, don't they? Yeah. All right. Tragedy today here in Southern California. 14 people were killed. More than 17 were injured. Went up to 3 gunmen, or gunwomen now apparently, opened fire inside a holiday or an awards party attended by the San Bernardino County employees at the Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino. Now, this happened at about 11 o'clock this morning, and the regional center there, the Inland Regional Center, is a facility for, it's like a school for children or people with disabilities, mainly autism. It's messed up. That right there, it just angers me right there. Nearly 670 staff members provide services to 30,000 people with developmental disabilities and their families right there in Riverside County. Witnesses told police that they saw 3 men with AK-47s and that they got into a black SUV and drove away. The black SUV was seen. A police chase ensued. Now, apparently, The SUV was seen in Redlands, which is a little town next to San Bernardino, and the police took chase, got the vehicle stopped. After a shootout with police, 2 were killed. 1 identified as a male, 1 female. Another possibly fled on foot and has not been caught. There was another person detained, still is detained. It's not known if that person was connected or not. Wrong place at the wrong time. All were wearing black, dark tactical gear, face mask, bulletproof vest, and had assault-style rifles. Some have been reported as seeing AK-47s, handguns, and they definitely came prepared for a mission. The FBI now says, and this is what is breaking right before the show tonight, that they have adjusted their investigation to include terrorism, so they know something. The other strange thing about all of this, no nationalities, ages, or names have been released. They obviously know something, and here we go. Now, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. If this turns out to be some connection to, it looks like, when you hear about all of this, somebody just said, Jimmy, what's your take on this? Well, my take is when you involve AK-47s and flak jackets and the garb and the look, and you're doing all of that, and you kill 14 people, it smells of military training from somewhere. And if this is remotely at all connected to what's going on in the Middle East, here we go. Okay, it's something doesn't feel quite right about this. There was a story going on throughout the day today here. I don't know if you guys heard this around the country, but that there was some kind of disgruntled employee that was at this party that left, and that possibly, they left and came back. It doesn't make sense, and that story didn't really get traction out here. It's very simple. If who was that person? Who was that person that was there that got in a fight? Where did they go? Did they go to that house in Redlands? Is that where they lived? Do you know who that person was? Did that person come forward and say, hey, it wasn't me. I got in a fight and I went home. It was a Christmas party. I had too much to drink. Whatever. I don't know. But it would seem strange to me that an employee would go home and then get their significant other or others all dressed up in tactical gear and then come back and shoot up the place. It's a possibility. I don't know. But this whole military-style raid like this and killing 14 people at that type of facility feels very, very, very strange. And like I said, I'm watching Twitter. I've got my email is going off about this too, and that the FBI has now changed their direction on this fully. Yes, that was announced before the show. For the FBI, at every turn today, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but I was watching the local news out here at KTLA, and the FBI was there, at every single scene, at every turn. Why would the FBI be involved so early on in this type of situation? I would think that the local authorities would have control, unless there was something else there. I also heard Homeland, was out there, and it's crazy. So maybe they know something very early on. Why they aren't disclosing who, nationalities and the fact that there's a woman involved is strange. Unless that woman was at the party and left and came back with her husband. I don't know. I don't know. I don't. But something just doesn't feel quite right. Okay? That's what I have now, and I'll be following up on everything throughout the show. If anything breaks, I will certainly pass it on to you. An Iowa witness at Cedar Falls reported watching a silent triangle-shaped UFO moving in a straight line overhead that appeared to cloak itself. According to testimony in case 72695 from MUFON, The sighting occurred at 9:02 p.m. on November 19th last month during a clear evening with no clouds and temperatures in the mid-30s. And I'm quoting here from the witness. He says, "No lights, no sound, and its glide path was to the south-southeast. I watched it for 5 to 6 seconds before it faded from view. Speed looked like it was around 200 miles an hour at about 3,000 feet of altitude." Very interesting. A seal of King Hezekiah has been found next to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The Ophel excavations at the foot of the southern wall of the Temple Mount, conducted by the Hebrew University's Jerusalem's Institute of Archaeology under the direction of Dr. Eilat Mazar, have unearthed an impression of the royal seal of King Hezekiah, who ruled 727 to 698 B.C. King Hezekiah is described favorably in the Bible, in 2 Kings, Isaiah, 2 Chronicles, as well as in the Chronicles of the Assyrian kings, Sargon II and his son. It's interesting. When you look at the seal is just like any seal that you would use to seal, like a wax seal on an envelope and so forth. That's what it is. And it's interesting to find it, but it's also interesting to find something like that directly connected to the Bible, which is something very strange. And, I'm not a Bible thumper or anything like that, but I am into history. And when you find stuff like this that is directly correlated with the historical chronology in the Bible, and then you find something like that at the Temple Mount, pretty interesting. And you can check out the pictures over on our Facebook page, Jimmy Church Radio. Go check it out. Astronomers are looking at those fast radio bursts, those FRBs that they've been detecting for the last 10 years. And the main one, they are pretty close to explaining what they are and where they came from. They have tied the origin of the fast radio burst to a highly magnetized, gas-filled region of space, providing a new hint in the decade-long quest to explain these pulses. And I'm quoting here. He says, "We now know that the energy from this particular burst passed through a dense magnetized field shortly after it formed." And that is Kiyoshi Masui, an astronomer with the University of British Columbia up in Canada. The FRB, which is now dubbed FRB 110523, originated 6 billion light years from Earth. 6 billion. Not 6, but 6 with a B. 6 billion. This is Fade to Black. Tonight is day number 3 of our AMAs right here on Fade to Black. And our guest tonight is Leo Zagami, live from Rome, Italy. You can ask him anything. Use hashtag F2BQ in Twitter. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. I'll be back with Leo Zagami right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
People love to shop. What if you could shop and it was actually good for you? What if you could actually purchase items that bettered your life? What goes into your body is important to what quality of life you have. How about shopping for items that better your health? GetTheTea.com is that shopping place. We're not only tea, even though that's our #1 seller, we are about helping your health. There's Colostrum LD for those of you with autoimmune troubles. The product helps your stomach get on track. GI problems produce pain. Get relief with Colostrum colostrum LD? How about some fat burners? Or maybe some joint aid? Or a power cleanse? There's so much to tell you with very little time. So get help health-wise at GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Or you can call our friendly operators at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. Get help and relief by going shopping. Shop at GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Serving people with great products for over 8 years. GetTheT.com.
Imagine no longer being tied down to your computer, but having the freedom to take live talk radio with you anywhere you go. TalkStream Live introduces our first ever iPhone application. The talk shows you follow now follow you. And your iPhone is now the fastest and easiest way to stay connected to the best talk radio on the internet. Let TalkStream Live transform the way you listen to radio. Listen to live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mobile talk radio from TalkStream Live. Now available in the iTunes App Store.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
All right, you Fadernauts. Studio Dome has done it once again. A new Studio Dome Fadernaut special. Introducing the Studio Dome Boom Box Bluetooth speaker. It's got a rear-firing bass film subwoofer and dual 52mm main speakers. You'll never listen to your tablet or cell phone speakers again. Just click on the Studio Dome banner, use the promo code Jimmy, and you'll get the SBB for $49 and free shipping. And get a Buddy 4-port USB charger for free. That's a $19.99 value right there. And they'll throw in a Buddy in the box. It's the best deal on the net anywhere. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner, enter the promo code Jimmy. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back to Fade to Black. And tonight, it's day 3 of 4 straight AMA nights right here on Fade to Black. And our guest tonight is Leo Zagami, live from Rome, Italy. His new book is Confessions of an Illuminati. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. You can also Skype in Fade to Black and the number 14. You can ask Leo anything. And I promise this is going to be one of the only opportunities in your life to either speak or post a question to a member of the Illuminati. It's going to be a great show tonight. Leo Zagami decided in 2006 to walk out from what he perceived as the criminal side of the New World Order after 3 years of internal conflicts. Zagami is still, at present, Grand Master of the Ordo Illuminatorum Universalis. Between 2009 and 2014, Zagami published 12 books, 2 of which were co-written with Benjamin Fulford, and another 2 co-written with Princess Kaoru Nakamaru on the Vatican and the New World Order. Zagami, who has been in the past involved with the production of documentaries for the English web TV Enigma TV, now appears regularly on the popular Italian TV show Mistero on Italia One and in numerous conferences and seminars around Italy. The first time he was on with us a couple of months ago, it was one of the most engaging conversations that I've had with any guest here on Fade to Black. And I would like to welcome back to the program, live from Rome, Italy, Leo Zagami. Leo, good evening, good morning. What time is it in Rome?
Well, 4:35 in the morning, so pretty early.
Thank you so much, sir. And I know that
you were doing all kinds of stuff today, and I think you were doing TV or some other stuff
Yeah,
today.
we were recording an episode of True Legends of Stephen Quayle in Rome, which is going to be coming up next spring. And then, so we've been working with this team also on another little production with the latest from Rome.
Hey, hold on, Leo. Hey, caller, turn down the radio.
Oh.
Turn it down. Okay, they hung up. Okay, there you go. See, calls are lined up, and I thought I would just start early.
Okay, sure.
Now, for everybody, use hashtag F2BQ. You can post questions there in Twitter. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com, and the call-in number is 323-825-5045. Now, Leo, before we get to... I'm going to put everything on hold here for a second.
Things are really fading to black there in California.
Yes, and that's where I wanted to go. Here, 14 people were killed today. Now, the breaking news, and I have it right here, the Los Angeles Times is now reporting, and it's the headline that...
there is an Islamist involved.
Yes. Syed Farouk is the named suspect. Saeed...
a pious Islamist, a man said to be very religious.
Here we go. And I was afraid of this. Let's get to some...
Well, I'm afraid of the show they're setting up. I mean, it's great. Okay.
Yes. Let's... we're going to come back to this. We're going to be talking about this tonight, I'm sure. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? Say hi to Leo Zagami.
Hey, Jimmy. It's John from New Hampshire.
Hey, John from New Hampshire. How are you today, sir?
Not bad. How you doing, Leo?
Very well, very well.
What's your question?
I have a question to the best of Leo's knowledge. Does the Illuminati acknowledge the existence of extraterrestrials?
Great.
Yes, I acknowledge extensively this fact, proven fact, by showing certain documents and also showing you a new side also to ufology in my book Confessions Volume 1, where I dedicate a whole chapter also to this subject. Very important because to the birth of ufology, we have also linked certain secret societies like the Ordo Templi Orientis, the Royal Order of Tibet, and also the BS RA of Maid Lane. So these things happened in a non-suspicious time in which actually the concept of a grey alien sprang out of Aleister Crowley's secret society, with Aleister Crowley depicting this grey alien almost 100 years ago.
Yeah, the drawing, Leo, that he did of that, it's your classic grey alien, isn't it?
Absolutely,
really
yes.
I know what he's talking about. It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's
called the Lamb, and in like I show in my book Confessions, there is actually certain cults in Crowleyanity, certain secret societies that worship this Lamb and that dedicate their whole secret society to the concept of connection, contact with these alien beings through meditations, through opening certain chakras, through rituals. What they're doing here is actually not really opening the chakras, but rather shutting them and letting these entities take control of them.
What I like about hey John, you need to check out his book Confessions of an Illuminati, and one of the things
I'm gonna go home and order that right now.
it's an amazing book, and Leo, I keep talking about the book on the air, but one of the things that I enjoy, I love documentaries, I love nonfiction, and it's one thing to read nonfiction, but I like the facts to be backed up with documents and pictures, and you don't hold back in publishing documents and photographs and stuff in this book. You definitely wanted to make sure that everything that you had said in the book was backed up with these documents. And were you nervous about publishing documents like that?
I was actually, initially I published the first edition of this book by really having to be very careful because it was done in Italy. And in Italy, there is very strict laws about suing people. So if facts are not actually proven facts with citation sources which are external to your own, you can get in a very serious legal trouble. For this reason, Italy has been the perfect base to actually create this concept of Illuminati confessions, because I had to go through each chapter with a legal team that advises me on what I mean, it's not that I am denying anything for the public. Absolutely, I can swear to God I don't deny anything. But what I do, I make sure that this evidence is proven beyond any possibility, because otherwise I will get really in very serious trouble, because I'm, as you said at the beginning of your show, I am an Illuminati, ex-Illuminati, yes, because I'm not in the New World Order anymore, I'm not on the dark side anymore, but I have my own organization which resides in Florence, which is a Masonic and Illuminati study group, and of course is made up of high-level Freemasons and so on, which I want to give this information out, thanks to me also, who is their Grand Master. So, I mean, we are fighting the dark side with an information warfare. That's why, the information warfare is probably the strongest military kind of warfare that one can do against an enemy, but it has to be proven fact. So these books shake the fundaments of society so much when it first came out in Italy that it ended up being discussed at the Grand Lodge the same year, actually, 2 months later, I think, in Rimini with the Grand Orient of Italy, which is the main Italian obedience Freemasonry recognized by all the US Grand Lodges. They actually had to discuss this book. They were forced to do it because 200 Freemasons started to oppose the Grand Master, which was highly criticized in the book. And so this proved that things move. And then I was then involved into the political arena. I was presented by Berlusconi's parties into this political arena for the elections. I wasn't elected, I participated to the elections for parliament. And then later on, I was involved also with the Fox revolutions, because this revolution that everybody witnessed after the news in Italy, where they took off the helmets in front of the police and everything, had some very strong ideological basis. The ideological basis came from my books. So you have to understand, when you write books that can change history, then you are writing something meaningful, because that book is going to stay and hopefully teach and change the course of history.
I'm looking at, and John, when you get your book, you need to flip open to page 112 and check out the picture of Lon Milo Duquesne's Illuminati ring. I got to tell you, that... do you have one of those rings, Leo?
Well, I have several rings.
Oh,
yes.
Man. That is the craziest thing I have ever seen.
I must say that Lon Milo's ring is, of course, an OTO ring for the office he actually is a part of. He's a Grand Master, Deputy Grand Master, if I don't get wrong, of the Ordo Templi Orientis. So, I mean, he has an official position there in this order. And, of course, apart from his offices in Freemasonry, where he's also part of the Scottish Rite and so on. But, I mean, his role in the Ordo Templi Orientis in the California Ordo Templi, which is the one worldwide recognized as the Caliphate, and this is another interesting thing, that the American Ordo Templi Orientis that then legitimately, by going through a series of court procedures, became the only Ordo Templi Orientis with the copyrights of Aleister Crowley worldwide, is born in Berkeley only in 1977, managed to copyright this Ordo Templi Orientis then logo and everything that actually predated even Crowley, because Crowley became a member of it. But in some way, they managed to trick the whole legal system in the US and get recognized even as an official religion and cult, with all the benefits that go with it. But as I say, in this book, they are far from being legitimate under an initiatic point of view, but they are simply one of those crafted creations within the U.S. military intelligence. And so even if there is a very different concept between the caliphate of the OTO and the caliphate of ISIS, in some weird way they also merge, and that's what I discuss in my book Confessions Volume 1. I don't know if you read this passage. It's a very interesting one.
Yeah, and if you see somebody with an OTO ring like this, you just run, right?
Well, I tell you, I mean, of course, we're not talking here about terrorists of the body, but terrorists of the mind.
Yeah, right,
people that are
Yeah.
corrupting the mind of the young people with very sick ideas, and that, of course, then are filtered by their artists, because we have to understand that many artists like Marilyn Manson or James Franco in Hollywood, and famous, a lot of famous people, like even Led Zeppelin's Jimmy Page, to say, just to name a few, but then you have Jay-Z, they really worship Crowleyanity. Crowleyanity is, in the last 100 years, this kind of disease, this virus within the Illuminati system that has really corrupted it and made it the sects of the Antichrist. All these sects are part of the Illuminati, are really working for the Antichrist. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, and John, thank you for the question. I've let you hang on here, but it's funny how you can go back and look at old Jay-Z, right? And there's no Illuminati shirts but as soon as his influence became strong, and he elevated up into his position, suddenly he's wearing Illuminati shirts, and I'm sure he didn't know what the Illuminati was when he was 10.
No, I guarantee you that. Probably not even my age, 26.
Right.
25,
yes. Thank you, John. Exactly right. So, hey, John, thank you for the phone call and a great question. And let me throw this back to you one more time, Leo, with John's question. E.T. inside of the Illuminati, either the good side or the bad side of the Illuminati but there is a general recognition of the existence of E.T. and visits to Earth.
Yes, there is an angelic realm and there is a demonic realm.
Right.
The alien entities are actually divided between these two realms. So you have alien species devoted to the demonic side, and then you have, of course, alien beings, angelic light beings, Elohim of the superior type that maybe want to, they gave us something. In a way, the Watchers have legitimated then through the bloodlines the creation of the elite in the old days. This elite of aristocrats, royals, were simply the offspring, and when this offspring got eventually corrupted and was not possible to recognize anymore by the people who were, of course, treated more and more in the wrong way. But we have to also understand that on top there is the Watchers that have acted always with us as, inferior beings, respect to them. So there is a whole concept between these secret societies to maintain this relationship pure with these entities by sometimes sacrificing things and acting in a way that for us would seem weird or barbarian, but of course for them in their eyes is legitimate because they are just keeping on to these old traditions that go back to Atlantis, ancient Egypt, Babylon and so on. All these different phases of humankind have seen these entities working with men. Maybe in the past, 5,000 years ago, it was done more openly. And now, because at the moment that they are preparing the stage for the comeback, let's say, of the Watchers and the whole show together, they are accelerating and doing what they're doing to manifest the end of times, because then they can throw again in front of us their chosen one, that leading subject which the terrestrials call Messiah, which of course it's not only something to do with the planet Earth, but it's to do with a much more ample, bigger spectrum of things in the universe. So mankind will witness certain things, but at the same time will be welcome in a universe where we are a young species and subject to rules that probably most of us will prefer not to know, because we have been put on this planet, which is as you put a plant to grow up.
That's right.
And,
that's exactly right.
Exactly right.
Hey, John, you have a great, safe evening. And now you can tell all of your friends you spoke to an Illuminati. Pretty cool, huh?
I can't wait to. And I just want to say real quick, I'm going to call in tomorrow night. I got a good question for you. And I'm looking forward to meeting you when I come out for Alien Snowfest. I'm already booked.
Oh, John, I'm looking forward to it, brother.
All right, man.
I'll see
Have
you.
a good night, you guys.
You too, man.
Good night. God bless you.
And, you know, we have the best audience, Leo. This is the best family. It's big, but everybody is family. It's just so cool. And there you go. Okay, so now let's get to. I want to discuss what happened today. But I also
absolutely, because as you know, in volume 1 of my confessions, I discuss very detailed the birth of ISIS, not only how outlining the influence and of course of the military-industrial complex and the CIA in crafting it, but also the originators in those mysterious lodges which I mentioned, with citation from credible sources, and all this, of course, we can discuss after when you're ready.
This is from Renee. She says, Leo, do you believe that Pope Francis has so far done more good than harm, not only for Catholics, but for all of the people of the earth?
Well, it's great to see it from outside, pushed by the media in a nice crafted surrounding that it always seems very fairy tale. When I arrived tonight to the Vatican, for the first time in ages, I saw St. Peter's Square, which had all the lights switched off, even the lights of the Christmas tree. It was probably, officially they said it was because of repairs, but basically we know very well that it's for security reasons, because they're very scared of what drones could do if they don't get detected.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
And they are activating scramblers, additional scramblers and stuff that they didn't have before. So while they're doing these different, security details that have to be in place by the 8th of December, when the Jubilee will kickstart. It's, of course, interesting. When people see me criticizing the Catholic Church, you have to understand this. I want to tell you this so it's very clear. I met the Pope. I've been there. I've been in the Vatican. I know the Vatican. When I go there, people know me. It's not like I'm a stranger criticizing them. I'm simply born in the Catholic Church. I was born Catholic. I was born on the Seven Hills on the hospital, which was used by John Paul II. I was raised up in the radio and TV, which is not only Catholic, run by the person who then founded the Vatican main satellite TV, which is Sat 2000. So when people maybe think, I'm a Catholic basher, they should understand that, first of all, I was never, I say, criticized by them, because they know very well that you can't criticize something which is true.
Right.
Because, you see, the Dominicans once told me, Leo, we admire the fact that when you are criticizing, you put in front evidence. Now, when you do that, and we go in front of the Pope with this evidence, unfortunately, at that point, there's no criticism that can be done. Evidence of evil is not Christ. And so it can't be accepted. So anybody that compromises with evil in the next few years will have to be really not only punished, but will see the wrath of God once all this charade is finished.
Right. Do they, when you're walking up the steps, right, you're walking into the Vatican, is like the Swiss Guard and the security, they're like, here comes Leo. Leo's coming up the steps. Here comes Leo Zagami. Is it like that for real?
Well, yeah, it is. Well, actually, it's even more funny. The other day I was the head inspectorate where they have, all the videos that basically the police station of the Vatican from the Italian police inspectorate, which is it's called the Vatican inspectorate. And I was in the rooms. I went from the operative. I think I went into the operative section. So into the operative section, you have also all the screens and everything. Then on one side there was the room of the boss. He's like the chief inspector. He's a little bit older guy, a little bit maybe around 60, I will not say over 60, because if he listens to me, he will probably kick my ass, as they say in America.
Right.
But the guy basically was there laughing, said, hello, Leo. I was like, and I was with my friend, and I made a joke. I said, hey, are you ready to bring yourself a Bernardino, which is like a little bed used in the military, put it here permanently to sleep here? And he watched me, and then he laughed. He knew that, I was just basically saying, guys, this is where really all the heat of the world at the moment is on.
Right.
ISIS has threatened the Vatican.
Right.
It's like, this is probably like the last line of defense of civilization.
Right.
And after that, unfortunately, things will go really to hell in the real sense of the term.
Right.
So I really admire those people, because they not necessarily think that the people inside the Vatican are all good people. They know very well the corruption. But you also have to understand one thing, and this I want to say to all the listeners. The Italian police has the duty to protect their citizens, but the Vatican is their own state. So the intervention that the police force can do also against corruption, pedophilia, and all the rest is blocked the moment that any police force from outside comes into what is actually a foreign land.
That's right.
And for that reason, you see, there is a series of compromises that are done along the way in all this, because unfortunately, on one side, yes, you would like to do what Napoleon, did, but at the same time, you know that these kind of things were attempted even by Hitler unsuccessfully. I mean, if you really want to liberate humanity of this problem, you should basically go with a military force inside a foreign land, which is the Vatican, and then at that point you should unearth all the archives, show that to the planet Earth. Then you should go to the other section, which is the section where you have all the holy relics.
Right.
Show it to the Earth. And then after I've done this, basically the history of humanity will be changed forever, and basically there will be no more need of the Vatican in itself anymore, if not like an external museum which will be visited from time to time for the interested people.
Right,
now, this might seem outrageous to the average Catholic, you understand, Jimmy, because the average Catholic doesn't really understand what is going on at the moment in the Vatican, but finally, thanks to the latest scandals, I think that everybody's really opening their eye to reality, because here is not Leo Zagami talking anymore like I used to do since 2006 publicly about this subject. This is Reuters, this is Huffington Post, this is the Independent, this is the Guardian, this is the news of, it's basically all over the world incredible sources that actually are confirming what I've been saying for years. That this corruption, it's made of, one side there's this corruption of this gay lobby, which sometimes it gets so ridiculous and out of hand, which is completely ridiculous. I mean, the monastery of Monte Cassino, which was like the last bulwark of defense during the Second World War, the Americans had to expunge. I mean, it was like, and at the same time, it's been an important monastery for hundreds of years of the Benedictine tradition.
Well, let's
it gets led into a scandal where the abbot, the abbot, escapes with $500,000 and spends them on ecstasy and cocaine and male prostitutes.
Okay, hold on right there. We'll pick all of that up when we come back, and we'll get to some phone calls. Tonight is day 3 of 4 straight AMA nights right here on Fade to Black. And our guest tonight is Leo Zagami, live from Rome, Italy. Tomorrow it's going to be me. Phone lines are open. Calls are stacked up. 323-825-5045. We'll be back with Leo Zagami and your calls right after this.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network. and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Kathleen. You're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
People love to shop. What if you could shop and it was actually good for you? What if you could actually purchase items that bettered your life? What goes into your body is important to what quality of life you have. How about shopping for items that better your health? GetTheT.com is that shopping place. We're not only tea, even though that's our #1 seller, we are about helping your health. There's Colostrum LD for those of you with autoimmune troubles. The product helps your stomach get on track. GI problems produce pain. Get relief with Colostrum LD. How about some fat burners? Or maybe some joint aid? Or a power cleanse? There's so much to tell you with very little time. So get help health-wise at GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Or you can call our friendly operators at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. Get help and relief by going shopping. Shop at GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Serving people with great products for over 8 years. GetTheT.com.
Imagine no longer being tied down to your computer, but having the freedom to take live talk radio with you anywhere you go. TalkStream Live introduces our first ever iPhone application. The talk shows you follow now follow you. And your iPhone is now the fastest and easiest way to stay connected to the best talk radio on the internet. Let TalkStream Live transform the way you listen to radio. Listen to live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mobile talk radio from TalkStream Live. Now available in the iTunes App Store.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
All right, you Fadernauts. Studio Dome has done it once again. A new Studio Dome Fadernaut special. Introducing the Studio Dome Boom Box Bluetooth speaker. It's got a rear-firing bass film subwoofer and dual 52mm main speakers. You'll never listen to your tablet or cell phone speakers again. Just click on the Studio Dome banner, use the promo code Jimmy, and you'll get the SBB for $49 and free shipping. And get a Buddy 4-port USB charger for free. That's a $19.99 value right there. And they'll throw in a Buddy in the box. It's the best deal on the net anywhere. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner, enter the promo code Jimmy. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, it's day 3 of 4 straight AMA nights right here on Fade to Black. Our guest tonight is Leo Zagami. He's live from Rome, Italy. Tomorrow, it's going to be me. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. You can also tweet your questions into hashtag F2BQ. Let's go straight to the phones. Michael from Indianapolis, say hi to Leo Zagami.
Hello, Leo. How are you doing this evening?
Very well, very well. Thank you very much.
Good. I have a question, and if you guys don't mind, I'll take the answer off the air. It's a little bit about Vatican history, and also just kind of Catholic history. It's kind of a two-parter. First is, do you know what it is that Peter and Paul actually fought about? And one started, Catholicism and one started Christianity. Like, what did they actually fight about? And I guess the second part of the question is, do you know any secrets about Mary's divinity?
Yes. Okay. First of all,
I'm gonna. If you guys don't
no.
mind,
I mean, I'll
take it off the air.
Okay, Michael.
Oh, okay. Yes, this, of course, to answer this question, I think we will need a whole show, so it's a little bit difficult to condense it. But what I can say is that Peter was given something, but let's remember also that Peter was a chicken. He chickened out in the real sense of the term. I mean, there was a chicken in the morning, and Jesus told him, he warned him very clearly, "Dear Peter, don't betray me." And he did that. So basically the fundaments of Catholicism reside on a chicken. This is the point of view that the Illuminati have of Peter. And the fact that also people don't count in that the good side of the Illuminati is called Illuminati because Illuminati was the first name given to Christians when they were baptized. So the most ancient form of Christians were the Illuminati. The real Illuminati, I'm saying, the good side, of course, not the one that worships Satan. And in regards to the divinity of Mary, it comes directly the tradition that was then implanted, this whole thing, because Jesus was a revolutionary. He became a god with the Council of Nicaea, because in Rome, if you wanted to count something, you had to be a god. Every emperor was a god. Everybody had to be a god if they count something in the empire. So, of course, when Constantine had to accept his mother's will to make this the religion of the empire, it was decided that Jesus had to become a god. And the divinity of Mary was then implanted in the fact that Mary was the ideal candidate for following up on the cults of Isis that were very important at the time in the empire and that then filtered in the cult of the Black Mary, and which is very dear to the Jesuits, who know very well they are actually worshipping Isis. In fact, Athanasius Kircher, who was a famous Jesuit, wrote about Isis extensively. So I think that this maybe is a very difficult question if you don't read all the Gospels, also the ones that were destroyed at the Council of Nicaea, because all the controversy that could actually lead to a religious figure that was uncomfortable, like Jesus, the greatest initiate, the greatest person to ever live on the planet. Of course, he was taking on an office of the highest type as an initiate. But when it comes down also to the fact that the Vatican comes from a tradition which is also establishing this Christian religion on a solid base that could absorb all the others. Let's not forget that when this religion was established as the religion of the empire, still the Mithras cult was very strong, but it was actually then given on the day, Christmas Day, donated the temple, central temple of Mithras to the Christian cult that transformed it in what is today the Vatican. The Vatican is actually built on a cult of Mithras temple and burial ground. So to not know the ancient pagan religions means that then you don't understand all the connections with the Catholic one.
Yes, exactly. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Leo Zagami. Who's calling?
Hey, Leo.
Yes, hi.
This is Walt. Hey, Walt. I'm not Italian, but I love the people. I love the food. I love the culture. It's a great people. They look at life the way it should be looked at. And the question I have, I hope you're ready for this one. There's a woman named Karen Hudes or something like that.
Yeah.
And she. Oh, you know her? Okay. And she really is a smart lady, and she was very prominent in the IMF. And she says something. She said to people that she believes that the Illuminati are also knowledgeable about many things that they really don't discuss in public, such as she called them non-humans that were in. Have you heard about that?
Yes, they are part of this tradition. Basically, the non-humans, what you call the non-humans in this case, are the leftovers of hybridization with alien creatures that left us then the royal elite, the imperial elite, And in the Vatican, the bloodlines is a very serious issue, and the genetic, the whole basis of the bloodline, actually in the Vatican, they have in their archives all the lineages directly from our creators to us. And so what she's saying is, let's say, accurate to the point that there is definitely certain bloodlines which are protected and have been there since ancient. It's not that they just arrived yesterday. They were from the beginning. The encounters also with the alien beings were already with the Romulus and Remo, with the founders of Rome. They started this whole adventure, which was called Rome, under the monitoring of these beings.
Thank you for.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Walt. Excellent question. I've got a bunch of stuff here, so let's just go. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down here, Leo. How do you define enlightened, and what is the alumbrados?
Yes,
and that is from Michael.
Yes, the Alumbrados were basically the version of the Illuminati, which sprang up in Spain, and that involved, right at the beginning, the early form that will later shape up in the Jesuits. But in any case, the Illuminati is not only the ones of 1776 of Adam Weishaupt. If we have to go by what I write in the book, showing you why my thesis is not only accurate, but is the right one, that the Illuminati is a vast, extended network of mystery schools existing from ancient times. So, Illuminati, since the ancient times, meant to have a knowledge that was superior to other people. You were illuminated to secret and ancient knowledge that the normal average Joe was not considered, let's say, he was not considered a person that could have this knowledge, because this knowledge is very powerful knowledge, it's very sacred knowledge. You can't just, like Jesus said, you can't give pearls to the pigs. And now, only now, after 2,000 years from Jesus' original message, we fully comprehend that if we have to then develop in the next stage for mankind, then we have to reveal all these secrets. That's why I wrote these books, to reveal the inside network, how it's built, their beliefs, how it's constructed, the entities, the relations with the various entities. And then maybe people, by having a more clear perspective, they can finally analyze and maybe at that point propose a change. I think, would be to actually be aware of these things and at that point make them public. But then it means also the end of democracy, because democracy is an illusion.
Right.
So now you have, for example, in America, a guy which I actually quite like, I find very funny, which is Donald Trump. He's a great reality show. He's the first presidential reality show. But that's what America is said to need in this moment of time, because they have to be re-led to certain truths, to certain things. And the guy, he conducted a great reality show, just like Ronald Reagan used to make great Western movies.
And he's doing it really well, too, as well. And it's kind of funny how our culture here is so acclimated now to reality television that Trump and his message is like almost okay. They'll ignore the bombastic. They'll ignore the personal attacks. They'll ignore everything because...
No, but I think that it actually is very genuine. He's a genuine American businessman that wants to be a little bit like Berlusconi, over the top and take control of things, and of course have also fun, but at the same time he's entering the world scenario in a very responsible period. I mean, I think that Donald knows very well that if you're not responsible, those businesses that he has accumulated through the years will just be wiped out of the face of the earth. So, I mean, it's a very tricky business here, because the elite, the New World Order made of these transnational lodges, has certain interest, and they don't really want people that are too much protagonists and steal the scene from their new world order, which is very gloomy, made of bureaucrats in really kind of like here in Europe. I mean, in America, you still have a Senate. In Europe, we have just a technocracy.
Right.
And a synarchic technocracy made out of people that seemingly are out of some kind of SS special unit with glasses looking like Himmler.
Right.
You know,
Right,
and watching you with the face saying, "We are the banksters. We work for J.P. Morgan, for Ernst & Young, and for, you know, and we control, you know, and then we have the military industrial complex, you know, and you have to satisfy the needs. So how many workers do we need in Europe? We need 30 million in the next 10 years because we don't have enough. Okay, start a war there. Please send me some of these refugees. Okay, they will create trouble. Great, let's destroy everything, because in any case, the important thing is that we sell weapons. People don't understand that since the 13th of November in Paris, they have sold so many more weapons than they sold in the months before.
I know. I did a report on that about a week ago. About so many weapons were sold. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Faded Black. Say hi to Leo.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
Hello.
It's an honor and pleasure and to talk to you. And hey, Jimmy, it's Brandon from Boston.
Hey, Brandon, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing okay. It's been kind of a crazy day, but I'm also a Vaticanista, and was at the double beatification of Son.
Did you read my book, Pope Francis? Did you read my book on Pope Francis?
No, I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, it's an amazing read.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out. But what I wanted to ask, kind of two questions, because what do you think, Leo, about the rise of Opus Dei in the Catholic Church and the Vatican, and their rise to power, which seemed to come so fast and took over sort of the Jesuit order of Jesus?
Okay, and then what's your second question, Brandon?
Second question would be, are there, the Illuminati? Are there females in the Illuminati?
Great questions, Brandon, and thank you for the phone call.
Okay. So let's answer first the Pope Francis last Pope kind of question, because I devoted to these studies very much years of my time, so I think I know the subject pretty well. The Opus Dei is not the Jesuits. The ones who have taken control of the Vatican in this emergency situation are the Jesuits. They are in charge now. They took off any other power influence at the top. They took it. But of course, the Opus Dei is still in there and is very active and very powerful. But we have to understand that the Jesuits are the secret service of the Vatican. They have been there for 500 years before the Opus Dei even arrived. So what happens is that the Jesuits have a different function from the Opus Dei. The Opus Dei are also the laymen, the men outside of the church, the businessman, the powerful, influential person that now joins the Opus Dei, because this is known as the white form of Freemasonry, which means white in the sense not as white as a racial color, but Licio Gelli, the worship master of the P2 Lodge, called Opus Dei the new white Freemasonry, because this organization has been structured in a way to steal members from Freemasonry and make them join the Catholic purpose. But of course, once you join the Catholic, you get also to see that in the Vatican there is different factions, not only one faction. Of course, at the end, now they are all under the control of the Jesuit Pope, which is also in turn also in league with the other Black Pope, which is the Jesuit general down the street in Borgo Santo Spirito. So I think that it's very honest to say that now the Opus Dei has waged an attack together with the conservatives during the synod towards the Jesuits and the liberal communistic faction, because they wanted to create some, they really... there is a conservative faction at the moment in the Vatican made out of Opus Dei members that are very upset for certain liberal attitudes pushed by this Pope. But at the same time, they themselves are corrupt. They have a lot of corruption, left, right, and center, the Opus Dei. So they are not really the ones that can, as Jesus said, throw the first stone. So in this world of compromise, it has to be very clear that the Opus Dei is definitely amongst the elite, one of the ruling forces of the Vatican, but let's never forget that the ruling elite stays in the Vatican, the Jesuits.
And
that is one question. Then we have the women question, the women Illuminati. Women Illuminati exist women Freemasons, for example, in liberal Freemasonry, which was born in France in a setup different from the conservative English one, where initiation was open up also to women. And in transnational lodges, women like Angela Merkel get initiated and then follow, of course, a path which is directed by the occult elite and by the invisible masters.
So there are powerful women in the Illuminati as well.
Very powerful, but they do simply, when it comes down to Freemasonry, they get basically to participate to a ritual which is considered solar, so actually male, and some of them, when they do this ritual, you can see them, they actually tend during the course of 5 to 10 years to become quite masculine. Instead, you have the women who are in part of the luministic societies, which are made also of a strong lunar element, which is, we used to say ISIS, but now it seems really when you say ISIS, you talk about terrorism. So, but ISIS is also a goddess. And of course, the Muslim cult is moon cult, while instead the Christian cult is a solar cult. So you see the difference.
This is from Miles. Is the Illuminati behind HAARP, high-altitude chemtrails, international banking, mind control experiments, and black helicopters?
Oh, wow. The list is very long, but I can assure you that I replied to these answers in Volume 2 of my Confessions, which is coming out next year. So wait a few months and you will have definitely some interesting material in your hands.
Interesting. So the answer is yes, is what you're saying.
Absolutely, but then it depends what you intend for HAARP, because at the moment, actually, HAARP doesn't even exist any longer, the base that was present earlier on up in Alaska.
Right.
And so things have changed in the last 2 or 3 years because there is now new forms of technology also being developed. So, I mean, you have to always understand also what is the final, what they want to realize with this technology, what they want to do with this technology. And then, of course, they make experiments and the one that works better is then used. But definitely, we have to understand the idea that HAARP could also be used not only for the weather, but also for the mind. And for the mind, transmissions of that kind can really control whole populations in times of need and make them weaken their certain, levels that will make them aggressive, get suddenly put down. It's like tuning. It's like tuning an instrument for the, for the Illuminati, for the elite that is on top. It's like, okay, these people are a little bit getting out of control. Well, okay, let's give them some drugs. Captagon, for example, the drug of ISIS is the drug of choice that is sponsored by the Saudi Arabian prince that got even arrested in Lebanon. Captagon, used by the terrorists who were there. In Paris, is a drug that is basically creating robots of the new world, killing robots for the new world order.
I thought about that too because that it was being used addictively to keep everybody awake, and also. You don't have to feed a guy that you're giving speed to, right? So you take the food out of it. But also, it affects the mind.
The aggressivity levels, they have to stay very high for what these people want to achieve because, they are doing acts that are completely brutal. And if you don't have the sensitivity levels completely switched off,
right,
they will not do that, So it's just like creating a weapon, in itself. The human being can become a weapon when it's chemically crafted.
This question comes from Dude. Dude says, if the U.S. government is part of the Illuminati conspiracy, why have the French, Russian, or Chinese intelligence agencies never revealed it?
Because they are part too.
Yeah.
There is a secret called the ultra secret. When you go above that level, then you start to get things right. When you have a superficial understanding, then you think there is still a division. But the division is created because otherwise there would be no need for selling weapons. If there was a world where there was basically peace and they didn't have any wars between them, so that's why they have to always opt for the divide and conquer factor.
This is from Allison, and it's kind of long, so let's take this in parts. Are Tulpas, egregores, and thought forms the same thing? Or are Tulpas and egregores activated energy forms with individuated lives of their own commensurate with the energy endowed in them, while thought forms merely exist in energetic relation or their creator?
Okay, this is a subject that I touch on Volume 1, the subject of the egregor, which I introduced, of the thought that becomes then shaped up in form thanks to maybe an occult chain. This is discussed in details in Volume 1, and then also I rediscuss it in Volume 2, and in Volume 4 I have an internal Illuminati document written in 1969 in a special reunion that was done amongst the Illuminati of the Martinist tradition, in which they really depict this egregor in the different ways it can, be shaped by a secret society, used by a person, used by a group of people, and also how you have to feed this egregor, how you have to make it. And remember one thing though, that if the egregor grows to a certain point, it can actually become independent from the group that created it. Or if that egregor is feeding into an alien entity, that entity will be always in control of that egregor. So
and so then it goes to part 2. If this assumption is correct, and you just said that it is, then is it correct that what creates the independent nature of the Tulpa egregor is created by organized, concentrated thought endowed with strong emotional energy?
There's no emotional, if not, the emotional energy generated is willingly generated to feed the egregor in that case. If you are consciously feeding an egregor in a lodge or in a group of people that have a secret society, they know that by activating, certain things, with the rituals, they are feeding and growing the power of this egregor. Is that clear? Or
yes, totally. And can the same type of mentioned above energy, can it focus also be used by the organic human to create and open internal personal portals in space-time?
Okay, we can say that through the use of sexual magic, in the high degrees of the Ordo Templi Orientis, by Aleister Crowley is discussed the homunculus concept, whereby in the sexual magical act, with the shaping the thought, and so shaping, also the whole concept, you're feeding into this entity that you are building up externally to your body, and that you are feeding up with those sexual energies that you are actually, this is what leads to the creation of an entity which is independent, and then whereby working for the magician or in league with the magician.
Do we have a smart audience or what?
Well, no, absolutely. I think we have an excellent audience. An audience that is ready to receive this kind of concept is already an audience that is aware. I mean, the majority of people, unfortunately, don't want to listen to these concepts because they find them too abstruse, too difficult to grasp. And that's what makes the Illuminati strong. I mean, when there is criticism towards the Illuminati, which is basically a series of secret societies that have been there for hundreds, for thousands of years, you have to be ready to understand that these are not just the Boy Scouts.
Right,
these are not,
right.
I mean, the Boy Scouts were created by them. But then not them.
Right. And we talked about that on the last show too as well. And but tonight it's not me asking the questions, but I want to go right back to that. This is a question from my personal photographer, Jose. Jose says, "Hi, Jimmy. Can you ask Leo what has been the worst experience he witnessed while in the Illuminati Society?" Now, before you answer that, Leo, I know you can go in a lot of different directions, but I want you to be honest in the answer. But remember, this is a family show, too, as well. We may have children listening.
Yeah, I mean, I have never really wanted to join the posse when they went into the forest doing these absurd rituals, if not at times, and I tell you, after I actually did that, I always regretted it and needed soon later an exorcism.
Right.
Because they really latch on to you with the negative energies, these things. I was part of groups, of course, that sacrifice regularly animals. I think that already the animal sacrifice is something pretty bad. When they went one step further, I never really myself personally followed them. But of course, then at the same time, I was part of lodges that decided maybe to sell weapons, wage war, do things that in any case they secretly pilot the strategy of tension. And of course, in that situation, you have a lot of things that are very bad. I mean, much worse than just a human sacrifice.
Man.
Because when you are starting to really understand that you are behind certain things, maybe, a coup d'etat in a foreign land or a thing that brings maybe people to that, then it becomes very heavy. So me, myself, personally, unfortunately, I was in certain surroundings where certain things were discussed, and at one point when it got really too much, I just left because I thought this is just too much. But up until I got to that point, I was witness to things that were not great. I mean, the level of manipulation of society and was pretty intense, and here we're talking about whacking people left, right, and center if they oppose the system, because these people, most of them are intelligence officers that have absolutely no regards for life whatsoever, because if you step on something that you're not allowed to step on, you immediately are allowed to kill. So it's very different from an ordinary perception. Also, life. Yes. I mean, from an ordinary person, life. But if you are a police officer, you have to defend the law, no?
Right.
If you are an intelligence officer, maybe you have to defend, for example, your state secrets, and so on. When you are in the Illuminati, certain secrets are very powerful, and so they are defended with the life, But I can say with great joy that fortunately I never accepted those compromises that could, yes, have led me to be probably mega millionaire. But, of course, then I will have my hands full of blood still now, and it will not be good.
Leo, I'm going to ask you, this is a question from me. I'm going to go off of...
I mean, once I was in a lodge in which we were deciding for a group of mercenaries to go into an African state. I mean, you imagine how many people are being killed during that kind of operation? You think that's any better than a human sacrifice done by the Satanists in the middle of the forest?
Right.
I mean... it's not the kind of thing that really probably I shouldn't have done.
Well, so Did you? It's one thing to have an exorcism. You probably did need that. But
yes,
but Leo, did you ever go and lay on a couch and talk to a psychiatrist and confess to some of this stuff? And what did did you do that?
Well, you have to understand that the biggest people in this business are the psychiatrists.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew.
But my father was one of the masters on this planet. So I learned from a very close source, a disciple of Meyer, who was basically the left hand of Carl Gustav Jung. I think that I was privileged enough since a very young age to see people coming in and out of my father's studio. And I think that I know what... and when I started, actually, I joined this whole thing, and I started having my first problems. I actually, for a period, saw some friends of my father for a psychiatric consultancy. I mean, they knew what I was doing. These are people that, often have... once I was to a psychiatrist who, his other client was this ex-president of Italy, who used to be one of the bosses of Gladio operation, President Cossiga. And, of course, everybody can go to a psychiatrist and benefit very much, sometimes in just talking and whatever. Of course, it stays there, and it's just a matter of you feeling a little bit better. I am totally against the use of psychotropic drugs, like all the Jung psychiatrists are.
Right.
Well, psychoanalytical behavior is much better. Doing psychoanalysis without really reaching the point of pharmaceutical drugs is a great thing. At the same time, though, I must admit that even Carl Gustav Jung was co-opted into the elite by the Rockefellers. So,
right?
All this, this...
Well, I know you well enough, and we've talked enough that I'm just going to say this to the audience, you scare the crap out of me, right? There's that part of it. But I feel like after one of these shows with you or after a conversation, I need to go sit on somebody's couch. Because it's frightening for us. I was just reading, Allison just tweeted out.
I tell you, sometimes it happened that they know very well that, of course, I have my weak spots, and the best way possible for them when I went out of control, for example, in Italy with the latest political revolution that brought hundreds of people, thousands actually, in the streets all over Italy, and hundreds of, we created basically bases all over the country. It was an active revolution. All this was stopped the moment in which they decided that I had to be locked into a mental asylum, for example, for 12 days, and I needed 3 lawyers to get out of there. And I must say, though, that it's always an incredible experience to be in this kind of flying over the cuckoo's nest scenario, because that movie itself was based on an MKUltra experiment.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's quite...
well, Allison,
I find it sad for the victims, for the people who are there. But.
Well, see, Allison just tweeted out, she says, so that means all of the dark stuff that we have heard is true. She said shiznit. And that's what I'm trying to say and trying to convey. We've all heard the rumors, but when you come on and you tell us these things because you're there and you're part of it, that's the part, it kind of confirms for us some of the nightmare scenarios that we imagine that would go on in
very
a fort.
Nightmarish, yes, yeah.
Right.
It's very demanding on a person, and at times it's been nearly life-threatening.
Sure. Okay, let's get back to the questions. Here we go. This is from Dew Sky. Jimmy, please ask Leo if he's familiar with Bill Cooper's Mystery Babylon series, and if so, does he think Bill was largely accurate or not? That's a great question. I would ask that one myself.
Yeah, Bill Cooper was a person that was a little bit before my time, in sense of that by the time I came on this scene, he was already gone, as you know.
He was already
dead. But I couldn't never, have a direct contact with him, because at the time he was probably active. I was still in these secret societies doing certain things, and I never really had the possibility to actually meet him. It would have been a great experience, because I think that he had definitely some great intuitive methods of getting to the facts. And I think that what is said for large part is quite true. But of course, I haven't read all these books and articles to judge him very well. I think that his experience also as somebody who was in this business of the intelligence for a period, maybe that he had a direct experience, definitely. He couldn't have just made up everything. He was somebody who really came from an experience, and I think that his intuitions about what was about to happen were pretty much spot on.
Hey, he was whacked. Don't forget that. I mean,
and without saying that in the end he was whacked, without getting there, but his intuitions on many things like 9/11 was completely incredible,
completely.
And they couldn't have never really come into if he wasn't an operative to a certain extent. I mean, if he didn't have a minimum of operative experience, he wouldn't be able to say these things.
Well, the Babylon series, and I know you're a busy guy and you're writing your new book and stuff, but and you and I have a lot of things that we're going to be doing in the future together. So you're a busy guy. But if you can take the time and go and listen to Bill Cooper's Babylon series, it's called, Babylon. Start with number one, and they're 1 hour each. And he goes back, Leo, to before ancient Egypt, and starts with the mystery schools from day one and goes all the way up to present history with the mystery schools and the Illuminati and religion and how it goes left and right off of center. It's absolutely fascinating, but it's how he does it. He does it completely in a linear fashion. Okay, so he starts at the very, very beginning, the first gods and the first mystery schools, and then moves forward. And certainly the first...
Let's not forget that he was from a tradition which I regard as very important, which is the naval tradition. He used to be a naval officer. Now, I come from a family of naval officers, and I know that naval intelligence is probably one of the best intelligences in the world.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And he did. He came from, he had a top secret clearance in the Navy. So, okay, well, anyway, Babylon series, go and check it out. You know what I do all the time, and the audience knows this. I study Bill Cooper, right? I study him. And I go back. I have listened to the Babylon series in its entirety probably 10 times. I've listened to the first 10 episodes probably 30 or 40 times each. It's an absolutely fascinating walk through history. Okay, let's go. I know you kind of answered this, but I can't cheat here. So let's address this again. Is the Illuminati tied directly to the ISIS conflict?
Yes. If we intend those transnational lodges also in Freemasonry that I define as your lodges, I talk about them in my Confessions Volume 1, and I actually explain in Confessions Volume 1 like the actual Hathor Pentalpha Lodge. But this is not just something that is coming out of my mouth. I cite a worship of master of a lodge, like I did in the documentary we did with Alex in Rome, with Alex Jones. We did this documentary, and I talked about this, that there was basically an Italian worship master who published this book last year, creating a big, the media went crazy here in Italy, and they wrote about it because he demonstrated and he says that he has full evidence that al-Baghdadi is a member of this Hathor Pentalpha Lodge, which is a lodge which kind of was awakened at the time of the 9/11 attacks. And it is basically a lodge that has taken in all the Islamic faction, and of course it contains also though some Christian fundamentalist faction like the Bushes, the Dick Cheneys, and whatever of the military industrial complex. And al-Baghdadi was initiated in 2009 in, the Fort Bucca, the prison
yes,
in which
yes.
he was recruited.
Right.
And he was actually initiated, and we have seen many pictures of him with McCain. McCain has never really said why. Why? I mean, McCain doesn't reply to this. Why McCain doesn't say why there is 2 or 3 pictures of you and al-Baghdadi that are circulating even in the newspapers here in Italy, in official, big newspapers.
You're trying to get the NSA to shut my show down tonight, aren't you? You're doing
No, because the NSA is driven by General Alexander. I know General Alexander very well. Okay. No. I'm not, and I'm not even joking when I say that.
Yeah,
because,
I know you're not.
I know Alexander through something that happened a few years back in Japan when I was there with Benjamin Fulford. And basically, what happened was that there was these trillions that were basically in the hands, trillions of bonds that were in the hands of these 2 Japanese that were stopped on the way to Switzerland in Italy.
Right.
I don't know if you heard about this story.
Yes,
of course.
Yes.
And then it all ended up that I had the day after the embassy, the American embassy in Rome, activated all the world of the intelligence and said whoever is capable to resolve this matter to come up with a solution. I just happened to go to Japan in that period of my life, and I found contact with Benjamin Fulford with the secret society that led to the owners of these bonds, or at least the people who claim to be the owners. And at that point, there was this current, but now he's on the run, which is Neil Keenan, who is a CIA agent that was involved with the Iran-Contra. And he started to say, Leo, can you help us? Because he was basically in league with the Chinese, is a Chinese family who owns these bonds in a way, but is actually more than a family, a secret society. It's basically what you call the triads, but it's also Chinese Freemasonry. Chinese Freemasonry is not regular Freemasonry. They have many lodges also in the US, even where you live. Chinese Freemasonry, though, is a 6 million people organization, and these bonds were apparently from there. And at that point, I contacted my people because they said, Leo, the bonds they have been taken in Italy, so maybe you can function as between your government and us, you can strike a deal. I simply went instead to my assistant in these matters, economic matters, which is Daniele Dal Bosco, who in turn went to the United Nations, because this is such a big amount of money, trillions, no? Even if after the authorities declared they were false, in reality they were true. But because the problem is that the bonds are intested to different people from the ones who own them, it makes the whole thing illegal. So we went simply to the authorities saying, do you think this is legal or is not legal? And they, of course, said to us, no, this is not legal and it has to be passed on directly to the United Nations responsible for this and that. Of course, that is the new world order, basically. Right. But when you have this kind of matters, you can't joke on these kind of things. So Nick Keenan had a meeting with them, and the whole thing ended up with Nick Keenan basically losing these bonds because they were confiscated by the United Nations. And at that point he blamed us, and he said to me that Alexander will intervene if I didn't act in a certain way. And this was written in a document, that there was the involvement with Neil Keenan of General Alexander. And so I replied simply that I am not paid operative. I work at times in the past. I've been working in the intelligence, but on a call kind of thing. It's not I'm paid. I'm on the payroll of any intelligence agency. If they don't pay me, I don't work for them. So I can't say I work for an agency if they don't pay me. What kind of work is that? So I said, I'm definitely not going to work for free for the NSA, and so if you don't pay me, can you please take me out of the equation? And he replied in a very rude way, and at that point I said, listen, say to Alexander that Leo told you that basically he can't boss me around because I'm my own person, and that's how it is. So I have this kind of relationship basically with General Alexander.
Is the Pope the last one of the prophecy, or is there going to be one more?
It's the last Pope. It's the last Pope because yesterday they intercepted a few ISIS members that actually then they were arrested here between Italy and Kosovo. And these ISIS members were saying this is the last Pope. Now, I mean, of course, say why? If the ISIS says it's the last Pope, it's the last Pope. No, because ISIS is a prophetic cult, and they know very well that this moment of time in history, it's such a crucial moment in history that apparently this will probably end up with the end of papacy itself, you know, in one way or another. Already the divinity of the office has ended because, you know, a pope that resigns doesn't really keep the divinity of the office, and so it becomes a job like another, no? Because if now this pope resigns, we'll have another two popes in the old folks' home. I mean, the Vatican will become an old folks' home if they start all resigning. But in any way, the divinity of the pope, since the Ratzinger resigned, has ended up. And that's why this is really the last pope. I mean, and of course, then there is the prophetic, the Malachi prophecy, or at least the prophecy of Petrus Romanus, that is very clear. What can happen in the next 6 months during the Jubilee could maybe change forever the planet Earth. Because the moment in which they attack the Vatican, of course, the whole course of history will change.
Have you, this is from Q Ra, have you experienced any blowback after your Project Camelot interview?
Immediately. I know, I mean, it's not even funny. I know. Because I ended up in jail, man. It was on my birthday. I mean, it was just a nightmare. I think that these people had been playing with fire. They were not really people from the, let's say, the milieu, the environment that is required to take on board investigative journalism. Because investigative journalism can really become very dangerous business, and if you, and that's why a lot of people in investigative journalism often work so, go on the other side and work as intelligence, and then it becomes a whole thing whereby you have a lot of intelligence people who are involved also with information, you know, whole psyops units which are actually journalists and so on.
Right.
So there is this whole thing that goes on, yes.
Besides your books, are there any reliable histories and literature about the Illuminati that you could recommend? And that's from Sandra.
Not in the English language. Not in the English language, because the most credible sources at the moment that are not me personally, not because I want to brag, because you saw the level of information I give. I just want to make this not anymore a subject to discuss around a beer. If David Icke has the laser, he doesn't have the laser. If the laser grows up in front of me, it doesn't grow up in front of him. I don't care about that. I want to give proven facts to see if people can challenge these proven facts, mean then really to go even deeper. So I actually challenge the people who read this book, then go themselves into the research of these topics and see if I was right or wrong. And maybe themselves will come up with some incredible stuff, and that would be great too. But this is not the kind of book that just gives you an opinion. It actually gives you facts. So I hope that was clear.
Yeah, that's honest. I said that at the opening of the show too. This is from Les. How is the Illuminati connected to? Now we're going to be up against a break here in 5 minutes, okay? But I have the feeling this is going to be a long answer, so try to keep it short. How is the Illuminati connected to the church and the Bilderbergs?
Because first of all, the church is part of the Illuminati establishment from the beginning of times. I mean, the mystery schools created the religions. So that means that every religion has a mystery school, that generates them, that comes from the Illuminati. Because the Illuminati, as we said, are the carriers of this mysteries, of these mysteries that were that they were not regarded suitable for consumption, which were instead the religion for the common man, the way it is given from the altar, was considered the one suitable for the person outside. So there is to each religion always a mystery school. Then there is the deviated ones, the secret ones that went into the dark side, that want to generate power, sacrificing and sticking to their Molochs. Those are the Illuminati of the dark side. That is really what we're trying to fight here, and there are many because they get from these entities and from these divinities that they worship, they get all the benefits after. They control whole nations. They do things which are completely terrible, to their people, but they get away with it. And they continue to rule through the centuries thanks to this secrecy that it's instigated to each member. And I'm not talking here about, of course, Freemasonry. Freemasonry in itself can be an honest institution, but of course then it can also be corrupt like any other. Then you have occult masonry. That's a different thing. That is for not your average porch mason. And in that case, you are dealing with the entities.
Which families are represented in the bloodlines with the Illuminati? And that's from Mark.
Yes. First of all, we have to go back to what I said at the beginning of the show, so it's clear, I think, for everybody. The Illuminati, the way I intend them in my book, and I intend them as Stanislao de Guaita, who was this great Illuminati and Rosicrucian, intended them, and that was in the French language. You see, for example, 120 years ago, 130 years ago, a book called The Temple de Satan, the Stanislao de Guaita, came out, but they never came out in the English language.
Right.
So you had books about the Illuminati portraying the thousand sects of the Illuminati, as Stanislao de Guaita used to call them, but then you don't have them in the English language. There is almost, it seems like in the English language, they just push the myth of this united Illuminati front as one order, meeting in closed doors and ruling the world. That's it. It's much more complex than that. It's different secret societies, and as I show in my book, there's a topology of the secret societies. I don't know if you read that, Jimmy, which basically describes the different kinds of secret society, how they infiltrate each other, manipulate each other, and then on top, they all, obey the same leaders that sometimes are visible and sometimes are invisible and sometimes are even not human.
Let's take a break. We have a hard break here, Leo, so let's go ahead and get this out of the way. I am Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black, and this is night 3 of 4 straight AMA nights here on Fade to Black. More with Leo Zagami. Your phone calls and questions when we come back right after this. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Ray Sobs here once again to tell you about the Space and Alien Snowfest Ufology Conference taking place in the ski resort city of Big Bear Lake in sunny Southern California. What a lineup. Richard Dolan, Chase Kletsky, Micah Hanks, George Norrie, Jason Martell, Jimmy Church, Linda Moulton Howe, keynote speaker Stanton Friedman, and more. Along with the speakers and lecturers, join the luncheon hosted by Jimmy Church. See a world-class UFO ET-themed ice sculpture contest with attendees voting the winner. Enjoy the quaint shops, restaurants, and pubs in Big Bear Lake Village, and enjoy some of the best sky watching you can imagine. After the hectic holidays, gift yourself with a retreat the first week of February and come relax with us in a premier ski resort town high in the mountains of the Southern Sierras with an average of over 300 sunny days a year. Take advantage and book your lodging early and get your tickets now. Visit our website and register at aliensnowfest.com. That's aliensnowfest.com.
Did you ever turn to your radio for your favorite talk show to find that it's been preempted for this?
In the air to deep right center. Back goes Lewis to the wall, and it's out of here!
Or this?
And I'm ashamed of you, Hillary, for voting for it.
Do you have a favorite talk radio program that's not available in your city? Just go to TalkStreamLive.com for links to the best streaming talk radio shows. At TalkStream Live, you will find live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All your favorites are here. With such a large selection, you will also discover some new favorites. On the go and still want to listen? With a mobile smartphone, simply type TalkStream Live on your internet browser. Now you can take internet radio with you. You will also find hundreds of music, news, and sports streams. Best of all, the TalkStream Live directory is free and there's never a login required. Remember TalkStreamLive.com, the fastest route between you and your favorite talk radio show.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight is night 3 of 4 straight AMA nights right here on Fade to Black. Tonight is our guest, Leo Zagami, live from Rome, Italy. His new book is Confessions of an Illuminati. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. Okay, Leo, I'm going to go straight back to the questions. I have got so many here, and I want to try to get them all in before the end of the show. So here we go. Next question. How do they believe a sacrifice enhances their entity contact?
Well, if this entity is demonic, they feed out of the energy that is generated during the sacrifice. That's why the sacrifice in itself is also very specific. I mean, it has to be of a young male. It has to be of a young male, so a virgin. And like the same also can happen with a female, but it has to always be also virgin. I mean, there is certain details that are given in order for the entity to give them back then the energy that they require to keep both the telepathic contact between the occult chain and at the same time growing their power in the materialistic world where they are achieving, of course, their goals. And nobody can challenge this egregore when it's so strong. It's a satanic thing. I mean, you know, it's like watching Rosemary's Baby. I mean, will you go and challenge those guys? I mean, it's like that. I mean, they're pretty dark characters, and if you go and challenge that kind of people who maybe is your doctor, your lawyer, your upper class person that participate to these kind of things, there is complete omerta. I mean, there's complete science, and nobody will ever talk about what the terrible things they're doing, you know, sacrificing and doing all that, because of course it's terrible. But they're doing it because they want to keep their status in this society growing.
Next question. I have a bunch of Messiah questions, and this is the first one. What is the Messiah? I'm sorry, it's what? I think he means when. When is the Messiah supposed to come, and what do the Illuminati think? When do you think the Illuminati think he is coming?
The Illuminati have the same idea basically as ISIS has regarding the Messiah. You have to understand that ISIS actually believes that after they destroy Rome, the Messiah would side with them, that Jesus will actually side with the terrorists. I know that this is an incredible and probably far-out perspective for everybody, but that's what ISIS believes. And that also you have to understand that in the Muslim religions, Jesus is the one who comes back because Muhammad has flown so high in the skies that he can't come back down anymore. So it's always Jesus to be the central character for all religions, really. Of course, for the Jewish religions, they don't accept the fact it's Jesus because they didn't accept his first incarnation, But we can say that they're all aiming for this Abrahamic Messiah, and it's actually already here. It will manifest in the next few years once the Antichrist faction is pushing very hard, is doing all the most terrible things because at the same time they want to manifest the other thing. It's like they are pushing towards the manifestation of the Antichrist, pushing towards the final confrontation because they want to reach then the point in which this Messiah will have to eventually be revealed to the world. But before that, of course, there is a whole battle to endure, and it's going to see between 2020 and 2030 probably almost 3/4 of the planet disappear if they go by their plan.
This next question is from Hal. Wouldn't the Pope be Illuminati by default?
Sure. So what is the question, though? Because he's Illuminati, but you have to understand that he's also subject to rules.
Right,
and that his is just an acting job. He's acting as Pope, but he's acting. It's like being an acting president. They are acting. There is always people pulling the strings behind. There is a statement that the Pope Francis made that I take also in my book, Pope Francis the Last Pope ? The statement is from one of his close collaborators that referred that the Pope, when he came into power at the Vatican, Pope Francis said, well, actually, as a pope, you have many puppeteers. You're not really left like doing whatever you want here.
When the Pope, I might have asked you this before, either on or off the air, I don't know, but when the Pope goes to that secret room to talk to God that only the Pope can go into and have that direct, is he talking to God or is he talking to E.T.? Who's he talking to when he goes in there?
It depends which room you're talking here, because the CIA has their own control room also inside the Vatican. They have actually published in Pope Francis the Last Pope a whole list of CIA representatives that worked, that have their own, it's called COS section within the Vatican. It's like an official thing. And I took this information from Eric Frattini, who is one of the great intelligence students. People who really know about this kind of matters, and from credible sources with documents in their hands.
Right.
So when we talk about the CIA in the Vatican, as there is proven evidence that when I'm just not talking and saying things out of my head here. When I talk, guys, let's remember this: that I have the information in my hand and has to be accurate, because otherwise I don't put it in my books. I have so much accurate stuff. Why should I put stuff that is not accurate? When it's not totally accurate, like for example in volume 1, it's not a question of accuracy. The question I don't have the confirmation for it, and I discuss the murders of Princess Diana and also the Princess Grace of Monaco. I say I don't have any evidence to demonstrate these plots. I just put them in front of you as they were put in front of me by a guy chatting inside the lodge. And that's it. But I can't, say he was true or not, because he didn't give me any evidence. Of course, the setup in the Monte Carlo Lodge where I got this information was interesting enough for me to then reveal this information to the public and then ask for them to make an opinion. But if an information is certain, then it's certain.
This next question is from Casper. He says, since the current Pope has a scientific background. Is the Catholic Church preparing for disclosure of UFOs and or aliens?
Maybe many people don't know, but even Angela Merkel has a scientific background. You know what she used to be before becoming a politician?
She invented
she was a
bubble
physicist.
gum. Yeah, it was something crazy. Yes. She
was a physicist.
Right. I'm making a joke, Leo, but I knew that she had a tremendous scientific background. Yes.
She had a tremendous scientific background, and she was also one of the heads of Stasi at that time, which was the secret police. So you see, science goes hand in hand also with participation in intelligence affairs. That's why it's called intelligence. Otherwise, it would be called dementedness. I don't know. I mean, it is the intelligence. I mean, you have to be. It's quite clear, no? So the Illuminati, in the core of the Illuminati, they're scientists, just as the Jesuits, just as Pope Francis is a Jesuit, and so he's a scientist. I was actually shooting earlier tonight with Timothy Alberino from True Legends. And we were at the Jesuit headquarters, and we were actually discussing this matter, the fact that the Jesuits are really the scientists of the Vatican, apart from being their secret service.
And I know that Daniel Sheehan just got back too. He met with Father Funes, head of the Pontifical Observatory.
We were actually, but he used to be the head until September. You know that since September now is Father Costamagno, the new one.
Right.
And the new one actually is the guy who made a conference in Washington a couple of years ago presenting the fact that he completely believes in aliens and that he welcomes alien beings into the church.
And I know. I remember when they made that announcement, Leo, and I read.
And that guy now took the place of Father Nunes. So it's like the Specula Vaticana is becoming even more extreme than it already was.
And I remember, didn't they make something? They made some kind of comment like E.T. could be baptized too when we would welcome him into the church. Some crazy comment like that.
Yes, he actually made a conference in Washington in a very important location. I think it was at the Library of Congress or something like that.
This next question is from Adam. Adam says, I think we kind of addressed this, but he uses a different word. He says, when will we see the emergence of the last martyr? And I don't know if he means martyr as in Messiah, or is this two different ways?
Yeah, because this is a little bit of a double-edged thing. It's a bit difficult to understand because everybody thinks they're a martyr. Even the terrorists who act in the way they act, they think they're martyrs. So I really tend to have difficulty understanding the question. But if it's regarding the Messiah, when he's coming, he definitely will manifest later in this next few years when things will definitely be changing in front of our eyes to a certain extent. All the prophecies will be fulfilled by the geopolitical activities that are taking place, and it will be not possible anymore for the governments to actually neglect this evidence. They will try until the last minute to neglect to every evidence. They can't say that the base on Mars, is it true, is it not true, whatever. They will not comment on it. Of course there is a base on Mars. Of course there is certain links to these entities. Of course there is a hidden reality that is actually being prepared for hundreds of years, and now with the technology that we have, that is the difference that we didn't have in the past centuries. The technology that is being given to us to evolve to this position, so then we will be able to jump to the next stage of evolution. The next stage of evolution will require a lot of courage for mankind, because at that point our creators will have to genetically remodify us because of the current change in the context of the planet. The planet will change very much, and so they have to make some changes. There is also glacial age coming up. I will not worry so much about, let's say, the world heating up too much, because it's actually been done on purpose, because in 2020, from there on, the temperature will go gradually down so much that it will actually benefit the fact that we have polluted the planet in a way. I know it sounds absurd, but unfortunately this is what they're doing behind the scenes to because then once the glacial age, mini glacial age will hit, they know very well that food will be scarce. Governments will be very much in trouble because they will not be able to satisfy then the need for food. And so at this point it is required that they do what they're doing, hashing up this thing, which is actually all linked also to the prophecies and the manifestation of the prophecies. I mean, the Shiites also are trying to manifest the coming of the Messiah and the coming at the same time, hashing up also the Antichrist. The Sunnis are doing the same thing with the Wahhabi. The Christian fundamentalists want the coming of the Messiah. The Jewish fundamentalists want the coming of it. It seems, though, that all these people who represent religions are really ruining their own religion, the message of their own prophets, because all these prophets in the end get manipulated for this end of time scenario that needs to manifest. But Christians know very well the teachings of Jesus. Don't say what then the Christians who go and shoot and do terrible things do, or the same thing for the Muslims, the same thing for the Jews that go and kill the Palestinians. But they all seem to act in this moment of time this way because they are all pushed by this egregore. There is an egregore of the New World Order, and it resides in the meditation room of the United Nations. That's where, in the land donated by the ominous Rockefeller family.
I thought that was supposed to be a place to go and find peace and meditate. Don't answer. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. So this next question comes from Romania, and this is from M. And the question is there a link between ancient Egypt and the Illuminati? Why is the pyramid such an important symbol for the Illuminati? Is it possible that the Illuminati started as pharaoh priests? Thank you. M from Romania. Great question.
No, it started before being pharaoh priests. Pharaoh priests came from the Alexandrian school and Heliopolis, but existed, as I said, a long time before in Atlantis. So the remains were picked up in ancient Egypt, like in other cultures. Of course, Egypt had a privileged contact with these entities, and that's why 5,000 years ago Osiris could live in a body of a man and be worshipped, and they would actually willingly be bending in front of him and bringing the stones to build the pyramids. That's why there's also this great problem, for modern men to understand why these people were willing slaves to build the pyramids. Were they insane?
Right.
When they made this discovery, they never really understand why. But it was never given an explanation of why they have been willing slaves. They always, there was this myth that they were forced. They were not really forced. They were just doing it because these were superior entities incarnated in a human being, or seemingly so, with a DNA, of course, which was partly alien, which are part of the ruling elite still nowadays. But at that time, they were open. So they could say, I'm Osiris the First. You know what I mean? And everybody has to bend down to him. And that's it.
Right.
And there will not be one leaf in the land that will move against that, because you have a living God incarnated in a person living in front of you. I don't know how much that is maybe now modern men can be again doing that, but soon they will have to do that. And how do you think they will take that, Jimmy?
That's it. Can I steal that, Leo? Can I steal it?
Sure.
That's all mine now. That is absolutely brilliant. This is from Maryland. Is the Antichrist alive today, right now?
They have been, during the course of history, since the time of Nero, the first Antichrist, a series of, let's say, stronger and stronger Antichrist. And we are about to arrive to the ultimate one that basically will manifest this current in the fullest. So it is like a developing thing. It's like we saw Christ being killed thousands of times in different men that emulated Christ, during the course of history, martyrs and things that emulated themselves. And the same happens also with the Antichrist, the anti-faction. So when these two factions arrive to this point in history, then they finally meet in their two biggest representatives to date, and that will be the moment in which the Watchers will manifest, because the whole show will manifest. But I mean, as I said, it will be very interesting to see and survive it.
Right.
If you have a proper heart, it still works and pumps very well, because it's pretty shocking.
Have you ever, this is from Walter, have you ever personally encountered a hybrid or true alien in your leadership role with the Illuminati?
I encountered the hybrids. I encountered once an entity which I regard as being a pure Elohim entity, which came after during my time when I was doing the magic of Abraham Elling in Rome, and it was a very sensitive, very particular experience, which I described then in one of my books, in particular, I think in volume 3. And it was a very strong experience, because you can't really do anything, you can't really act in front of this entity. It was a being of light with its borders made of blue, and I mean, it was an incredible experience. I just wished I could repeat it, but there was also the fact that I couldn't move. It froze me, kind of like...
Same thing happened to me. Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
So you try to force then at that point, yourself. Then I understood that the only way to actually seemingly get in contact with this being was not to force your physical move, but to actually kick back and say, okay, just boom, get out of my body. In that way, I could actually go towards him.
Well, me, if I would have been able to move, I would have done some ET butt kicking. I was freaked out, and I thought I had like somebody broke into my house, and so I was freaked out on that aspect, but I didn't dig it. I was not happy with it. Let's go to the phones. Dino, say hi to Leo Zagami. Dino, what's your question?
Signora Zagami, come sta?
Bene, grazie.
Yeah, I'm half Sicilian in my family, and you correct me or you tell me if you disagree, but the whole reason for La Costa Nostra originally forming, and not that most Sicilians are members, was that Sicily was always kind of got the tail end of the Roman Empire. You dump people there that were corrupt governors, etc. And so the poor people of Sicily had to have friends of friends to do justice and to protect themselves. Correct?
Not correct. From the time the Normans, though, came with Frederick II, things really were different, because you have to understand, Frederick II Barbarossa, like Frederick I Barbarossa, these were emperors who actually had even more power than the Pope and waged war against the Pope. Openly.
Yes, and the point of my question is...
So when they stayed in Sicily, these barons that came from Germany originally, because you have to understand that they came all the way from Germany to Sicily, because Sicily was the last port before you go then to the Holy Land. So it assumed a very important role, especially cities like Messina, where my family comes from.
And Syracuse, yeah. Sure.
Yes, and so basically, the people like me who are barons of the Sacred Roman Empire, we come from those bloodlines. Actually, my family was Di Gregorio. It's Di Gregori, so it's the Watchers. So it comes directly from them, and at the same time, it was the tutors of the emperor and his favorite generals, and we actually helped him wage war against the Vatican, and the war was lost 15 minutes from where I'm actually talking now from. I'm outside of Rome at the moment, towards Tagliacozzo. And Tagliacozzo, if this emperor was not stopped there, probably nowadays we have a very different scenario, because he will have wiped off the temporal power of the Vatican immediately. Only at the foundation of Italy, the Vatican was then restricted to this little state, but up until the foundation of Italy 150 years ago, the Vatican had a very big state in the center of Italy. So it was a war that had to be waged against, at that time, the Vatican, and that's why Freemasonry in that time specifically became very anti-Christian, because they, wanted to breed Masons very anti-Christian Masons that could wage war against the Vatican, which was also a power. I mean, I'm talking here about a physical power, a state. So, but at the same time, those seeds of anti-Christian behavior and of Satanism and Luciferianism that were planted in that period, unfortunately, helped people like Crowley taking Freemasonry on the dark side.
Well, that was only the beginning of my question. I thank you for that. But the reason I brought that up is because it seems like the Illuminati that you were a member of is more of an organization that wanted power, wanted control. As
if you study my book, which I invite you to do, and Jimmy has done very well, you see that I'm not part only of one group, but many different fraternities, orders, that work within a structure. So I was initiated into the Fraternity del Sole Croce in Antigua, into the Fraternity Saturni, in the Ordo Illuminatorum classic tradition, in the various rites of Freemasonry, in other secret societies like Amucos, others. I mean, so many that I can make a long list, but they are all then part of the same Illuminati family. So your question, I mean, what you're saying is only true partly because there were people like Monte Carlo Lodge, which I belonged to, which was completely obsessed with power. And then there were groups maybe which I joined for a period, like the Ordo Templi Orientis, which are obsessed with occultism and controlling people with magic and all that. So, and sometimes in the occult world, all these realities tend to come in contact, and at times they belong to then inner circles and even more secret societies that are always, though, part of the same network we call the Illuminati.
And that's why.
Yes, Jimmy, what?
Dino, that's why you need to listen to the show.
No, I do, but my question, these were kind of a lead-up. I didn't thank you, Leo, but the main thing I was going to ask is, with all this that you have told us, that how much do we need to worry? Like, you broke away, you had a soul, you have a sense of fairness and right and wrong. How dangerous and how powerful are all these groups that have now converged under the Illuminati banner today and in the near future? How much power do they have? Are we in real danger, or will full disclosure of not only the Illuminati but of extraterrestrials, will all this come to bear? Even the Pope saying that he's going to forgive debt perhaps next month. Will this all come to being, or are we going to be enslaved? How powerful is the Illuminati today?
Thank you for the call, Dino.
The anti-Christian Illuminati are very powerful. They then all belong to this really neo-theosophical reality which permeates the United Nations, and also all the secret societies that sprang up after the birth of theosophy from 1875 onwards seem to be leading the same way, towards the one-world religion of the Antichrist, really, of a fictional figure that is not really the real Messiah. So they are pushing that button, they are going that way, they are led to manifest the prophecies, and that's what, in the end, I mean, I'm sure that any attempt to control the Messiah's independence will be just met with death, because unfortunately when this whole thing will really manifest in front of our eyes, and this sex manipulated by the Illuminati and the dangerous New Age religious beliefs will finally be exposed as dangerous, and the war will be in full, there will be this clash of titans that is already manifesting in front of our eyes with the beginning of the Third World War, which of course is at the beginning stages, but it will manifest fully. After that we might have peace once mankind realizes where he finally is, and he has everything clear. Then he can make his mind up. I think that is, because each person has to make their mind up on who they want to side with in the end of times. And if you want to side though with the good side, you also have to be immediately ready to do a lot of self-criticism and also see that in everyday's life you are unfortunately supporting maybe with little things you don't even imagine, this can be doing evil, and while you are passing your credit card, down at the supermarket, that credit card and that bank are probably selling and buying and doing business with the deaf merchants of this planet. So, we have to arrive at one point to a culture of transparency. That doesn't mean nice words said on TV by a president who is just acting in a role. Transparency means sincerity, saying also what is being done wrong. All the secrets should be revealed. That's why I actually open my book. I don't know if you noticed this, Jimmy. At the beginning, the first page of my book opens with a specific passage, which is Matthew 20, 26, 27, which says, "So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaimed from the roofs." This doesn't just need to be the empty words of the usual preacher from the pulpit. This needs to be an operative form of revolution. The original revolution of Jesus was not a revolution of words. It was take your sword and fight. So then meeting the real Messiah will be probably shocking for many, because they will just understand that maybe he's just not the character they imagined for 2,000 years. This is yet to be seen, though, when things will fully manifest. In the meantime, let's lay these seeds for the foundation of a new civilization of openness, like I'm doing with my book.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Leo, let's take a quick break. I just have 2 questions left, and maybe 3, so I need you for 10 more minutes. I know it's so early in the morning.
No, well, I hope you forget that my voice is going down the drain.
I know. Go get some water. And we'll be back right after this. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, Leo Zagami.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
Why do people order Life Change Tea? Because Life Change Tea helps the digestive system. Life Change Tea helps the colon unclog. The tea also helps with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and many, many other health issues. Life Change Tea also tastes great. And Life Change Tea is not just green tea. Life Change Tea is a unique blend of 8 different herbs that go to town, cleaning your body of harmful toxins, bacteria, and parasites. Our tea is number 1. Are you ready for your life change? Let the tea help you. Log on to our online store of helpful products to get your body on track. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. Not all tea is equal. Read our website of all the factual testimonies that prove that Life Change Tea is working. Health is important, and our quality of life is very important. Don't wait to order. Expect a life change with Life Change Tea at getthetea.com.
Are you a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, or UFO skywatcher? If so, FNGinnovations.com has the product you definitely need in your investigations kit or go bag. Introducing the Morpholite Wide Beam Tactical Flashlights that put the light where you need it most. Traditional flashlights shine a focused round beam with limited line of sight in the dark. Morpholite Tactical Flashlights change all that, utilizing a revolutionary wide beam design to enable you to see safety hazards such as hanging wires and steel, pipes, and holes in the floor you just can't see with a focused round beam. In the field, where safety is paramount, a 180-degree beam increases orientation and peripheral vision in the dark. Morpholite flashlights are ideal for investigations in abandoned facilities such as houses and hospitals, factories, caves, and tunnels. Avoid those low-hanging tree branches that poke your eyes in the woods. Visit FNGinnovations.com to see a full line of tactical lights and accessories. That's FNGinnovations.com.
Now you can find all your favorite talk radio shows live, all in one place at TalkStreamLive.com. Listen from anywhere, office, home, or in your car. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com and click on one of the many live talk show hosts you want to listen to. It's free and easy. No computer? Download the smartphone apps. Never miss your favorite talk show. Find them all at TalkStreamLive.com.
you want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn
it. This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. Day 3 of 4 straight AMA nights right here. And our guest tonight, Leo Zagami, live from Rome, Italy. And I just have to thank Leo. He started the show at 5 a.m. over in Rome. And after 2.5, almost 3 hours of talking, Leo, you've almost lost your voice. So hang tough for me. Yes. And I've got a couple. I have another 20 questions. But
I would like to say 1 little minute, if you give me a second,
sure.
To just define this shooter who has been identified. This guy called Farouk. People in America don't maybe know, but there is Farouk Sayed. Is possibly a member of these very powerful internal Muslim gangs that operate a bit like mobsters within the Muslim world. They don't usually bring a lot of attention on them. They're not like terrorists. These are like gangs. And the thing is also that many of them work with foreign intelligence, like Pakistani intelligence and so on. So they are, of course, to blame when it comes down to false flag attacks. And the thing that he might have been triggered and then came back and offended, it would be typical of this kind of gangs in the Muslim world. I mean, these people, sometimes they're Shiite, they're not even Sunni. So that's, I think, will create some problems then in identifying the whole problem, because I don't think that the Muslim community is coming out now very strong on TV, because they know that if the attention finally will go on these people are the ones who are usually looking very mild in front of society, but these are the ones who are bringing the weapons in, they do the drug business and all the rest. Pakistani gangs in Scandinavia, like in Sweden or Norway, rule the scene. They are divided in 2 gangs, the Pakistani A and B, and they are so powerful that they work with the PSD, the Norwegian intelligence and so on, in traffic of weapons and so on. So if this is actually in the end the answer of the whole thing, it would be very difficult then for the media to filter the right message, because here we are talking about reality which is absolutely unheard of from American point of view. You just think that the Muslims are terrorists, but the Muslims have also criminal gangs and criminal lords that are the worst mafiosi on the planet. So, and they make deals directly with the Illuminati and with the establishment.
Yeah, I've always felt that ISIS has very little to do with religion. That's
no,
just
ISIS itself is and then crafted and created and all that. But this could actually here lead us to an even more interesting scenario, because then when we are starting to talk about Muslim gangs, it brings you directly to their secret services of certain countries.
Does CERN and the recent, I'm going to read this direct. Do you have any info on CERN and the reptilians and the alleged recent disaster?
No, well, it's not the reptilians here. Here we're talking about them experimenting in the last few months, especially since September, with the possibility of open an extra-dimensional door to let the ultimate of the angel of the abyss, Apollonion, the watcher of watchers, into this dimension. The moment in which they led him into this dimension is the moment in which the revelation seal is open, one of the seals, the most important ones, so the Third World War can finally take place.
There you have it. Okay.
If you want to have it like synthetically, that's
let's see. Does the Illuminati manage or manipulate social media like Facebook and Twitter?
We can say that the Illuminati are, most of them, people within, there is, of course, the business side of the secret societies we define as the Illuminati. There is also the intelligence and military side. They have plenty of psychological operations and agents all over the internet working at all time. So the Illuminati just don't have maybe, like their lodge members going on the internet. And no. These things are done by experts of the intelligence, of the police forces, that then report directly to these people who in turn are inside these secret societies. And so they have always a privileged way of accessing, because you have maybe in a lodge, the head of this intelligence, the head of that media, and then you order them around and you can craft the reality out there.
Please ask Leo if it's true there is a book called The Devil's Bible.
I would say that there is a few of them around. One is said to be written by the devil himself, but I would say that these grimoires that are present in secret societies since medieval times are pretty dangerous stuff, because they were maybe written in direct contact with these entities. They have seals which are completely mega dangerous. You don't want to ever even watch a seal like this, let alone put it maybe or use it in a talisman, or even some people, these days even put them as a tattoo. That's even worse.
Right.
But unfortunately, it exists. These books, and there are more than one that are written by entities, then if you want to call it the devil. But remember, the devil has also many names within the legions of demons that serve the principle, which is Lucifer. Then you have Satan, Beelzebub, Asmodeo, Astaroth, and the whole band going down there. Is a hierarchy. People have to understand that the hierarchy above is reflected below. So if there is an angelic hierarchy with the various Michael, Gabriel, and so on, the same is below.
Stargazer just said she could listen to you read the phone book. All right, I just had to get that in. This is from Rivers. Do the Illuminati, human and non-human, reincarnate, and are they subject to the laws of karma? And that's from Sandra in Puerto Rico.
Absolutely, the laws of karma. Everybody's subject to the laws of karma, and one of the things that the Illuminati do is to really try to arrive to a point in which they go, they attempt to go maybe above these laws in some way, to restrict the negative influence that some actions can take consequence. So what is happening here is that at times they try to manipulate this in a very scientific way, and sacrifices that are not only human sacrifices but animal sacrifices, offers of even fruit done in certain religions like Hindu religion, they all serve this purpose of pleasing these gods, so they, you can actually maybe be forgiven and your karma can be cleansed.
Interesting.
Or they can be actually polluted and bring you to the dark side even further. Of course, if you sacrifice a little child, your karma will never be the same again. You will be going backwards for the rest of your incarnations.
You'll never get it back. Barrett says, and this is a great question, please ask Leo if the next president has been ordained. Has the next president, has he been picked?
I think that the chosen one was Jeb Bush. The problem is he didn't have, how Donald says it, he didn't have the energy, he didn't have the right type of energy. He was too low energy kind of type. He didn't really work out for the elite, at least up until now. But that means that Donald will probably be the first presidential reality show you ever had. And I mean, with all the respect, because the guy is very talented in doing that. And I think that in the end of times, probably in front of the Antichrist and the Messiah, having Donald Trump playing The Apprentice is a great thing.
Oh, man, you just scared the crap out of me. Leo, in your opinion, Is there a particular reason why Pope Francis is always asking people to pray for him?
Yeah, he's never really prayed for anybody else externally. From the beginning, was when he installed as a pope, he did something unusual. He said, pray for me. What does that mean? It means growing the egregore of the Catholic Church and feeding his own vampirism, psychic vampirism. You understand? Because he's saying, pray for me, pray, pray, pray. Oh, I get it all in. That's it.
Oh, that's interesting. Hey, I talked about, I think I brought this up to you before, but, where the Pope gets his clothes made at that haberdasher in Rome. Do you know where that place is? Have you ever been there?
Yeah. I just passed out maybe a few hours ago. I was in that same street. I passed in front of that place. Yeah.
So, are you tempted to go there and have a suit made?
Once I remember I made this was like 2008, 2009. People didn't know about selfies. And I used to actually do my Illuminati selfies with all these and once I did a selfie of myself with this on the mirror of the shop, where they had this nice kind of colored thing all set up for a nice priest,
Yeah. And
No, I'm always fascinated with that kind of shops because those shops are the same ones that also furnish the knighthoods. So you always go there because they make your cloaks for your rituals.
Yeah, they do. And you get the nice label in the inside. And I always wondered, bishops and cardinals and priests around the world, if they look at each other and check out, the labels inside of their cloaks or, to see if they've been to Rome lately. And I bet they do. They want to have the Pope's tailor. I'm not making fun of. I'm being serious for a second. I really am. Okay, next question.
You would be really shocked to know. What that tailor is doing also for the Illuminati, even for the Knights of the Illuminati. It's quite incredible. Maybe some people should check out my cloak one day. It's pretty fascinating.
Oh man, I would love to.
But they can do that by getting the book for Francis the Last Pope. There's a picture of it.
I can't wait till you and I have dinner. This is from.
Looking forward to that.
This next question is from Australia. Does Leo have any information on the tsunami that caused the Fukushima disaster? Was it man-made?
Very interesting question, but I'm answering to you with the whole chapter in Volume 2, so I'm not disclosing it on this because we're still at Volume 1 today.
Fair enough. I want to thank you for coming on tonight. And
it was my pleasure.
I'm going to
announce. It's like early in the morning, and we have like the recycling unit coming to pick up the glasses, so they're making a hell of a lot of noise. So if you hear any clashes, it's not a terrorist attack; it's just they're picking up the bottles.
I'll announce to everybody now. Next Friday, Leo is going to join me on Coast to Coast AM. And we're going to go in a couple of other directions. Of course, we're going to discuss his book, Confessions of an Illuminati.
You are like my navigator for that, so I take you as my GPS for that.
Thank you so much, Leo.
And you tell me where I have to go, because I'm a wild driver. Sometimes I like to speed a little bit fast.
Yeah. and one last question. How do you stay alive? And that is from Paris. That's a question from Paris.
That's a great question. I always get asked that all the time. So I think I'm going to have to write a book only on that one. It's about my bloodline and the fact that I come from as I said, the Grigori. I come from also another part which is the Lion family, which contains also the bloodline of Jesus. I don't think that people want to mess with this kind of bloodlines.
There you go. Thank you, Leo. Be safe over there. Thank Christy for everything, and I'll see you next week right here on Coast to Coast AM.
Thank you very much, and speak to you soon.
Thank you so much. Leo Zagami, everybody. That was, I can't believe that we had the show that we had tonight after the show from last night, that AMA, and then Monday night, with Hollis. And what a great week And I wish we could do these AMAs all the time. Absolutely fascinating. Thank you, Leo, for everything that you do. The book is Confessions of an Illuminati. You can get it from CCC Publishing. The links are at jimmychurchradio.com. And I have truly been fascinated with this. And a book like this written, now that you've gotten a second dose of Leo on this show, you know the mindset where this book is coming from. You need to get it. CCC Publishing. The links are at jimmychurchradio.com. And then we will have an even more expanded show, if you can imagine that, next Friday night, the 11th, on Coast to Coast. And Leo will be joining me there. With that, you know what? I'm going to do this. I have to. I got to get this last commercial in. I know it's right before the end of the show, but I got to pay the bills too. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, our last installment of our AMA series this week, and my guest is going to be me. This is Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hi, folks. Ray Hobbs here with KGRA to tell you about something very special taking place in February 2016. I'm talking about the Space and Alien Snowfest Ufology Conference taking place at the beautiful ski and snowboard resort city of Big Bear Lake in sunny Southern California. We've got Richard Dolan, Chase Kletsky, Micah Hanks, Jason Martell, Jimmy Church, Linda Moulton Howe, Mike Barra, and keynote speaker Stanton Friedman will be presented a Lifetime Achievement Award. George Norrie and his producer Tom Danheiser from Coast to Coast AM Live will be with us all weekend. After the hectic holidays, gift yourself a retreat on top of the world the first weekend in February 2016 with a one-of-a-kind ufology event featuring some of the top minds in the field. Take advantage and book your lodging early and get your tickets now and register at aliensnowfest.com. I'll be there. Don't miss out.
All right, you Fadernauts, Studio Dome has done it once again. A new Studio Dome Fadernaut special. Introducing the Studio Dome Boom Box Bluetooth speaker. It's got a rear-firing bass film subwoofer and dual 52mm main speakers. You'll never listen to your tablet or cell phone speakers again. Just click on the Studio Dome banner, use the promo code Jimmy, and you'll get the SBB for $49 and free shipping. And get a Buddy 4-port USB charger for free. That's a $19.99 value right there. And they'll throw in a Buddy in the box. It's the best deal on the net anywhere. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner, enter the promo code Jimmy. Go Beckley Teppy.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. Thank you, Leo Zagami. Night 3 of 4 straight AMA evenings here on Fade to Black. Tomorrow night, it's going to be me. You can ask me anything. And yeah, I'm scared. I want to leave you with this. 5 reasons the EPA should scare the crap out of you. Number 1, the EPA has developed what amounts to a small special operations police force. It's equipped with military-style weapons, 200 special agents equipped with tactical sets, kits, outfits, gear, vest, night vision, everything. And they even have security vehicle services. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. Reason number 2, the EPA should scare the crap out of you. The EPA's 2015 budget totaled $8.13 billion. The EPA. Reason number 3, the EPA employs more than 1,000 attorneys. And that right there should scare the crap out of you. Reason number 4, since 2000, the EPA has given colleges and universities more than $1 billion in grants and even more to private organizations and associations. So I ask you, how can colleges and universities conduct truly neutral research on the environment and climate issues when their funding comes from the EPA? Think about that for a second. And reason number 5, and I hope you're sitting down, the average EPA employee earns twice as much as the average U.S. household. And that doesn't include bonuses. The average EPA employee's salary last year was $111,000. The average. More than 10,500 EPA employees earn more than $100,000 per year. Nearly 4,300 earn more than $125,000 per year. Something ain't right. And if you do the math, if 2 EPA employees get married, their household income would put them in the top 4% nationally. And in some markets in the United States, it would put them in the top 1%. I ask you, what is wrong with that picture? The EPA should truly scare the crap out of you. Formula E, which organizes a racing series for electric cars, is planning a new robo-race that will put electric autonomous cars to race. Currently, no teams have signed up, but Formula E hopes autonomous car makers such as Google and Uber will join in this whole thing to show off their capabilities of their own vehicles. The driverless races will take place directly before each electric car race in the 2016-2017 season. 10 teams, each with 2 autonomous vehicles, will compete in hour-long races on the same circuits as Formula E's human-driven races. And that, my friends, is amazing. I want to thank Leo Zagami. Absolutely mind-blowing show tonight. Absolutely just perfection. Hollis Polk. I mean, what a week this week. Tomorrow night, right here, it's going to be me, my AMA. Faded Black's executive producers, Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, and Jonas. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Faded by Dale. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music is Doug Aldrich. Intro is Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA The Planet. Tomorrow night, night 4 of our AMA series with yours truly. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2015 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. They cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.